your family, despite living in a very rural area, you've got a duck call business and you're seriously Christian. You wind up in television.
Yeah.
Which is like the opposite of all of that.
Yeah.
So how do you have the crew comes in for wherever, you're meeting with the studio executives from wherever, but not from West Monroe, Louisiana.
No.
How do you begin a conversation about your faith with someone like that?
Well, it was obvious. I mean, I think the faith just comes through it was going to be hard to separate the faith. And so, but I understood television enough to know that, it can't just be a sermon, it's got to,
Right.
And we live our
I'm saying
lives.
the people who run television, I have noticed from spending a lifetime there, not super receptive to the message.
They weren't as, a lot of people ask me that, like we ended every show with a prayer. And I almost get this like weekly. It's like, I bet they didn't want that prayer. But that wasn't the case. They were like, oh, it's cool.
Good for them.
Yeah, it wasn't a battle at all. It was just a good way to end the show. They knew faith was important to us. And that's how we ended every show, was with that prayer. But there wasn't a lot of resistance at all from that. So, I think people, they thought that was the case or wanted to.
No, I love hearing that it's not.
Yeah, it really wasn't. It was like, and then once it works and once it's
right, commercially
successful, the biggest show ever in reality TV, there's like, oh, we love that prayer. That was our idea. No, it worked. And so once we talked about how to do it, and my father he was so funny with the show. So when I went down to tell him, I said, Dad, we got this idea of doing this television show, and he hated it. He's like, I don't want to do it, And I said,
where'd the idea come from?
I said, it's a way to get the gospel out to more people. And literally, that's what I told him. And he sits in the chair and goes, I never thought about that. He goes, you think it can? I said, I don't see why not. He gives a thumbs up, and he's like, all right, we'll do the TV show. If it can get the gospel out to more people.
So you do a show like that. What are the mechanics of it? Because it seems like it would take over your life completely.
It does.
So, how does it work?
It's a lot of, we didn't know when we started. Like, we had no idea. I get an email. So we had done another television show on the Outdoor Channel. And in the same way, like, it was my wife's idea. Corey watched reality television.
Is she from West Monroe?
She's from West Monroe as well. She's from the city. I'm from the sticks. So she says she's watching all this reality television, and she said, Willie, I think your family needs to have a reality TV show. And I'm like,
that's not a compliment.
Well,
when your wife says your family needs a reality TV show, that's
what I said. I said
it's usually an attack.
Well, that's what I didn't realize it. And I said, Corey, we're just normal people. And she goes, Willie, y'all ain't normal. Like.
Do you ever feel like you can't trust the things you hear or read? Like every news source is hollow, distorted, or clearly just propaganda lying to you? Well, you're not imagining it. If the last few years have proven anything, it's that legacy media exists to distort the truth and to control you, to gatekeep information from the public instead of letting you know what's actually going on. They don't want you to know. But there is, however, a publication that fights this, that is not propaganda, one that we read every month and have for many years. It's called Imprimis. It's from Hillsdale College in Michigan. Imprimis is a free speech digest that features some of the best minds in the country addressing the questions that actually matter, the ones that are not addressed in the Washington Post or on NBC News. The best part of it is free, no cost whatsoever, no strings attached. They just send it to you. Hillsdale will send Imprimis right to your house, no charge. All you got to do is ask. Go to tuckerforhillsdale.com and subscribe for free today. That's tuckerforhillsdale.com. The only way this stays a democracy is if the citizenry is informed. You can't fight tyranny if you don't know what's going on. Imprimis helps. It's free. Don't wait. Sign up now.
So it was your wife that came up with the idea for Duck Dynasty?
Yep. Then I had to go tell Phil, and then, because originally it was on the Outdoor Channel.
Yeah. What was it called?
And I was approached by Benelli Shotguns at SHOT Show. Have you been to SHOT Show?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was approached by them right after she said that. And they were like, hey, are you guys interested in doing a reality TV show with the Shotguns? And I was like, Corey just said we should do a reality TV show. And he goes, well, let's have a meeting. And so so we sat down and they said, hey, we'll we'll pay for production. You guys will be on the show. Thankfully, they had 2 guys that came in that they had just hired who they came out of reality television. So he'd hire them for like their in-house, all their commercials and stuff that they do. And we love Benelli. I mean, we love the shotgun. So we was like, yeah. And so we're going through the deals. And so right at the end, Corey says, she's such a smart business person. And I'm excited. I'm like, hey, our business is going to go up. So I go to Phil. I'm like, Phil. He's like, oh, it's a terrible idea. And I'm like, Dad, we'll sell more duck calls. Like, we'll be on the Outdoor Channel. Like,
plus free shotguns.
Plus free shotguns. I was like, plus free other stuff. I was like, this is the smoking deal, And so Corey says, so we're going to go up to Maryland. I think that's where they're, Maryland. And we're going to have this meeting. And Corey's, she'd been reading these books, and she goes, well, I think they should pay y'all a talent fee. I'd never heard that word. I said, what is talent fee? She goes, like, they should pay y'all to be on the show. I said, Corey, don't get greedy. Like, this is a gift. They're paying for production. And
free shotguns. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, well, it won't hurt to ask. And I said, what? Okay. But I said, here's the deal. When you ask, if you get any weird sense, abort the mission, get out of it. Do not screw this thing. So I was like, this is our big chance. You're going to ruin it by asking for too much. So we go in the meeting, the guy's going through, he said, okay, we'll start production here. And we'll do this and that. And he goes, I think we're about ready to go. And Corey's like, one more thing, And I'm like, oh God, I'm like, and she's like, we're thinking you should pay the guys a talent fee. And he was like, oh, what were you thinking? And she said, we were thinking $30,000 a piece. This will be for the whole season. And I'm making $28,000 a year. That's my salary.
What were you doing?
That was my job. I made $28,000.
But what was your job? Oh, at the duck call
that was my whole yearly job. I made $28,000. She just asked for $30 to do this thing, which would essentially double my pay. And when she said 30, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, that's way too much. And the guy literally just goes, yeah, okay, no problem. And I'm like, crap, we should have said 50. We should have said 50. Like, she said 30. So then, and here's what kind of CEO I am. So we were excited. So we go back to the house. I go back down to Dad's house. Jason's there. We're all in the house, and they're waiting to hear what happened with the TV show. And I walk in. I'm like, well, boys, we're fixing to do us a television show on the Outdoor Channel. And guess what else I got us? $30,000 a piece. And I act like it was my idea. And everybody just like, we were like, we did it. It's over. We finally figured it out. We got free shotguns. We doubled our pay. We have to do a TV show. We have no idea what we're doing. And we launched into that show.
What year was that?
This would have been probably 08.
Yeah.
Somewhere in 08. So we launched into the show. We were able to cut our teeth. So we've been making DVDs and hunting videos. Now we go on this TV with these boys from reality TV were there. So we really learned how to do television, how to do, what was going to become ultimately Duck Dynasty. It was a different show. Like half of it was just like hardcore guns, and all that. They were showing their products. And, but the other half was just like silly reality stuff that we just came up. And I kind of focused on that. My brother and dad, they did the hardcore hunting, and then I was over there doing hey, we could show this, and we could just wild, crazy stuff we were doing. And the show was super popular. Like in that world, everybody loved it. And we won awards, and our sales went up. More people were buying duck calls and our T-shirts. So it was like, hey, we did it, man. And I had to sell. Part of the deal was I had to sell half the advertisers. So because then that when you get your commercial, then you have to go sell them. So Benelli would sell half, and I sold half of them. And it was so funny. Like, it was hard selling, but ultimately it was going to be Duck Dynasty. It was hard selling an ad for this thing. I ended up selling all mine. I would sell my ads, and that was part of the deal I had to do. So then we get an email. I get a generic email, information at Duck Commander. And there's no telling how many of these just never even get looked at.
Of course.
It's a dude. He said, I'm a producer in Los Angeles. I've watched the show on Outdoor Channel. He saw that show. I think you guys have a really big show. Give me a call. Left his number. Secretary comes in and says, I got this email. Somebody sent there from Los Angeles. And she said, do you want me to throw it away or do you want me to respond? And I looked at it and I said, I'll respond. So I respond, say, hey, this is Willie. What are you thinking, you know? And I get on the call with him and, man, he's a fast talker. You know, he's LA. He's like, Willie, I'm telling you, this is going to be the biggest show. I mean, I'm telling you, I've got something this big. Yeah. And like, you have a really big show. Like, we got to take this thing bigger, you know. This is on cable. This is on. And I'm thinking, this guy's full of crap. I'm like, I said, you think so? And he said, Willie, you will not be able to walk down the street without everybody recognizing who you are. And I thought, God, this guy, like, he's laying it on thick, you know. And so I said, well, so what do we need to do if we were to do that? He said, we'll make a sizzle reel. And unfortunately, we had just done like 3 seasons of this show. So we took 3 minutes, and then he started pitching around to networks. And there was a lot of interest. You got to remember, this is the time Louisiana, the tax credits were big, like before Georgia had it. Right. Louisiana was kind of the hotbed. And there was tons of shows. I mean, our state is like, there's so much culture and just fun people in our state anyway. And so you had Billy the Exterminator, Swamp People, Sons of Guns. All these are Louisiana shows. Bayou Billionaires. There was tons of shows being shot there. So if you had anything in Louisiana, because they knew they could go, say, 40%, you know, in this state. And he saw it, and we were on the Outdoor Channel. He saw it. And then out of nowhere comes A&E. A&E, I didn't really know anything about A&E. I didn't watch, even know what it was. And he said A&E is interested in 2 pilots. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he says, well, if they pick it up, that's where we want to be. It's a good mixed audience, like men and women watch A&E, big company, you know, it's, you know, combined with History Channel, ABC, Disney, all this, and ESPN. And so he said, the problem is if they pass on his dad, like, because then everybody just say, oh, they passed on him. And so we shot 2 pilots for A&E, had no idea what we were doing. And then the film crew got giant. You know, they sent down this huge crew, and we had no idea. And we just kind of went into it, not really know what we were doing.
So what's it?
And didn't know if it was good or I didn't know, you know. And so what was interesting was they didn't know what exactly they were getting. So if you kind of just looked at a picture of us, you'd be like, I think they thought we like grunted and like, you know, and I couldn't speak English. So they didn't, I think they thought it was going to be like danger, like alligators are coming out of the water, you know. So they come down and so we shot the pilots, we sent it off. And so they call and we're like, well, we have good news and bad news. The bad news is this is not the show we were ordering, like at all. We were all shocked. And we're like, uh-oh. They said, the good news is it's way better than what we thought we were getting. And they were like, this is a family show.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.